Is there really a great shift happening for the Indian community?
Now, I've been hearing a lot of talk about the Great Indian Shift, and low-key, it's been a long time coming. Because ever since those Looks Maxing videos, I feel like Indians have taken that a little bit more seriously. Now, it's been a struggle for a while for some of us out here, but we are finally getting that attention. It's insane, because if you would have told my 3 years ago past self that this was gonna happen, he would have thought you were lying out of your ass.
I fear a generation shift is starting to take place. Me after saying I don't got a type, I'm on my 4th brown man with a drinking problem in a row. The great shift has begun. The great Indian shift has finally begun. I used to pray for times like this. Me patiently waiting for the great shift to catch up to South Asia so I can hang in the sun without getting recommended skin lightening clinics.
Hooray! I cannot wait for the great shift. Didn't you realize the great shift is happening, guys?
The great shift is coming. So basically, if y'all aren't aware what the great shift is, it's basically where everybody's type just switching. And right now it's like switching to them like light-skinned Indians and like that Indian type group right there. And before y'all come at me thinking like I'm crazy, bro, I'm telling y'all need to start doing your research. Look around you. I'm telling you, these underrated females are everywhere. Like lately, I've been doing my research and I'm like, damn, wait, hold on. These Indians, they got fine shit.
I'll be the first to say it, alright? I'll be the first. These Indian girls are on the rise. Boys, it's time to invest now. Have you seen them lang Indian girls? And also, can we just stop the Indian hate? Like, come on. Indian rights. Come on. Let's stop the hate. I love you, Indians.
How I have been looking at Indian boys lately. You already know the great shift crew went fugazi in the comments.
So yeah, based on those TikToks that I've just shown, we are going to be talking about this new phenomenon of the Great Indian Shift. And as you can see, something's clearly been in the water, because if you go onto any TikTok which involves any brown munde or mundian, then you'll see that the comments are all filled with this talk about the Great Indian Shift, or the Great Shift is beginning. Indians are on the come up, Indians are taking over. People are acting like this is some sort of crazy renaissance and that Indians are going to form the next French Revolution and take over the world or something. Now listen, I don't know if Indians are taking over are the comments that we need right now, especially with what's going on in Canada. Like, let's not ruin our PR even more. But it seems like this great shift trend on TikTok could be helping the PR of Indians. And when I say PR, I'm not talking about Jude Bellingham. I'm talking about the fact that people think that there's some sort of shift in the perceptions of society for people to view Indians as more attractive and that Indians are becoming more desirable. But if you take that premise at face value, then you can already see that there might be some problems with this notion, which I'm going to get into later. But where did this entire concept of a great shift start? And I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, what does this even mean? Like the majority of trends which people seem to copy nowadays, this idea of a great shift actually originated within the black community. And from what I've seen on TikTok, this great shift is essentially the idea that people's preferences in what was attractive went from being light skinned to dark skinned with locks.
Listen, I think one of the greatest mysteries of recent history is the great shift, bro. Because can someone please explain to me what the hell caused the great shift? How did us dark skins go from Uganda knuckle slander every single day of the week? How do we go from guys turning off the lights and saying they couldn't see us, yeah? To now every girl, you ask them what their type is, 2 dark skin with dreads, bro. Where did this come from, bro? Where did this appreciation come from? Out of nowhere, bro.
Bro, the great shift needs to be studied. It was a time where you had to look like this to get a girlfriend. You had to be the male version of Zendaya. You had to pretty much be light-skinned Justin Bieber, or you weren't getting a second look. Bro, the girls literally said that they only like light skin. Bro, it's so crazy how that's the opposite now. Bro, being dark-skinned and having dread is low-key the standard now. That's crazy how times change. Bro, they made it seem like it was a crime to be dark-skinned. But they would say when the teacher turned off the light and you were dark-skinned, bro, insane. Bro, this is the real progressiveness.
Oh my god. I don't I find you quite attractive, man. Get away from me, ew! Ew, you're disgusting! You're so dark! Ew, cover your face! Oh.
I'm sorry I'm dark skinned, okay? Sorry.
Take this bleaching cream. I need you to turn light skin. I can't be around you. You're so disgusting. Get out of here. Oh my god, is this a dark skin? You're so beautiful. Can I have you?
Yes, I know I'm dark skinned.
Dark skins do it the best.
Yes, I know we do it the
Please,
best.
let me sit on
I
it.
know.
I'm so first.
Ladies, stop fighting over me. Stop
Okay,
fighting.
papa.
I know.
So yes guys, as you can see, this change in dating preferences represents a great shift, quote unquote. Now obviously I'm not black, so I don't know how accurate these TikToks are, and I'm not going to speak on this, but I know that I have a few black viewers who watch my videos. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this notion. But in the current day, this theory of a change in preferences has translated and made its way into being about the Indian community.
I think we're finna witness another great shift. If y'all niggas before like 2019, 2020, being black and trying to get hoes was impossible. The only type of black you could be if you wanted any chance at getting any play whatsoever was light skin. I believe Indian niggas have the great shift. I know it sounds crazy because a lot of Indian chopped, but y'all niggas more Indian niggas have been tapped into the looks maxing game. As toxic as the looks maxing black pill environment is, it works. How do I know? I'm living proof, man. You also gotta take into account the amount of hate Indian niggas getting. Now I know this sounds very counterintuitive, but think about it. If every Indian on earth is getting cooked for being so-called dirty, which they might be, I'm not Indian, imagine a bunch of baddies see Indian fine shit. What's the move now? Imagine just seeing some fine Indian, beautiful, gorgeous hair, sexy as hell, and that could cause the great shift forever. If we get like 10 viral Indian niggas, see as hell, I promise you the great shift will begin. But for the great shift to work, we're also going to need some Indian baddies. I ain't never seen an Indian baddie, but you also sometimes can't even tell when somebody's Indian. I be thinking it's Spanish. But if we can get a couple of really famous, attractive Indian celebrities that aren't corn stars, I promise you, the great shift V2 might be upon us.
As that guy just explained, a great shift part 2 might be happening for Indians, and it seems like people are already embracing this idea, with people on Reddit out here talking about taking action and forming some sort of game plan, as if Indians are in the 4th quarter of an NBA game and are 10 points down, so they need some crazy buzzer beater shot to come back. And it seems like the hashtag The Great Shift is running up numbers on TikTok, and every brown guy and girl are using it as an excuse to post a thirst trap. But for me personally, this entire thing is stupid, and I'm going to explain why in this video. But first, I need to give you some context about why I personally think this trend is running up the numbers in the way that it is. And to begin, I think you have to look at the state of what it means to be Indian in 2024 and how we're perceived. It's not a secret that from all angles on the internet, Indians have been facing discrimination, whether that be the comment section, our own people setting us back, the "what race would you not date" videos, or actual real life occurrences of racism against Indians. Whether you like it or not, there's clearly a stigma attached to being Indian in 2024. And in real life, this is due to multiple things happening within the community, such as the rise in Indian immigration to Canada, the idea that Indians are hateful towards others and don't like other races, which is categorically one of the reasons why other minorities will also discriminate against Indians, even though we're technically supposed to be in the same boat. But despite these negatives, there have been a few positive moments this year, like Hanuman Khan blowing up and Dev Patel's Monkey Man essentially serving as the biggest forms of representation for Indians this year. However, for some people, this still isn't enough, as the majority of people want that instant gratification of being called attractive and feeling special from a comment section or TikTok video in order to kind of counteract the racism they see in the comments. That's why people will jump on any video of a non-Desi calling Indians attractive and start talking about this great shift nonsense as if it's supposed to be good. Now, I'm not saying that Indians becoming more recognized and more seen is a bad thing. I mean, we all know about the problems that the West has with representation and obviously the depiction of Indians. But this great shift trend brings out problems which other people within the community are starting to notice.
Whenever people see a pretty Indian person on their For You page, they're commenting like, oh, great shift, it's gonna happen. Honestly, as an Indian person, I obviously hope that happens. I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I do sense that people are finding South Asians more attractive recently. I still think it's wild that an entire race can be a trend. And just like with black people, Indian people didn't actually become prettier. It's just people's perception that's changed.
As a spokesperson for Indian women, I reject this form of validation. We simply cannot be made into a trend one more time. Like, I reject. So
one of the problems that Homegirl mentioned in our video is the problem with this being such a sudden switch up in people's views about Indians being attractive. I mean, it's not like over the last few years Indians have magically become more attractive and all of a sudden we figured out a new formula on how to become attractive. Indians have always been attractive, and I'm not going to bring up the statistics about how many Indian women have won Miss World or anything like that, because I don't need to. If you're attractive, then you're attractive, and that goes for any and everyone. Me personally though, I'm on that Ray Schremer type of timing. I ain't got no type, bad bees is the only thing I like. All jokes aside though, the reason why I feel like people are eating this trend up is because Indians consistently get ranked low on these dumb rage bait trends like what race would you not date or rating ethnicities I get mistaken for, which I spoke about in the last video. And these types of trends make people doubt themselves, and clearly based on the TikToks and comments we're seeing, it ruins their confidence and they need some form of validation to make up for it. But now all of a sudden that's been flipped and Indians are being perceived as attractive by other non-Desis. So now there's a great shift, quote unquote. And this brings me on to what I think is the biggest problem. And it's not that Indians have always been attractive and all of a sudden are now being recognized, but it's the constant need for validation from other groups. As a majority of the comments have pointed out, the great shift is also known as the increase in approval from white people. Now listen, if that's what you want, then go ahead and be thankful. But it gets to a point where you have to figure out if this validation is really worth it and if it's all you want. If this increase in validation is what's getting you a partner of a different race, then you have to consider if you really want to be with someone who's only with you because they see you as a trend to be with, like Homegirl pointed out in our video. And this idea of a race becoming a trend obviously links to wider ideas and potential fetishization of Indians in the future. I talked about this a bit in my last video about how Latinas became fetishized and why that's a problem, but I can see the same thing happening for Indians in the future. The reasons why Latina women became stereotypically attractive is due to their depiction in movies and TV shows, and if Indians are being talked about in the same way on TikTok, then obviously the same thing is going to happen. And I feel like this also happened with East Asian women as well, with the whole ABGs trend. And I don't know if you saw in one of the TikToks where the guy was talking about investing in Indian girls as if there's some sort of asset which can appreciate or depreciate. Like, yo, I need a 15% return on investment on this one brown girl from the Bay that I picked up on the market. Like, what does that even mean, investing in Indian girls? Do I get some sort of protection on this investment or what? I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but I just find it weird, to be honest. And I know you probably saw that in that other TikTok that one guy was talking about light-skinned Indians being what the great shift is about and light-skinned Indians being the move. And I've already kind of talked about this before, about how not every Indian looks the same and about how diverse India is as a place. But I feel like if you use those terms like light-skinned Indians, then you're basically promoting colorism and you want Indians to look a certain way in order to find them attractive. And again, I know I talked about this in my last video, but barely any of my viewers watched that video, so I'm gonna talk about it again. But we know that colorism is a problem within the community, and I feel like this trend is kind of promoting a bit, but also to other communities. It's kind of like when girls on TikTok say they get called pretty for an Indian, and we know that's the most backhanded compliment that you can receive. But realistically, the reason why they get these compliments is because they meet more of the modern day beauty standards. But if you want to keep promoting these issues, then yeah, keep talking about the great shift. And I'm not saying it's all Indians who are excited due to this increase in recognition from other races, because to be fair, the majority of people within our community are against this idea of a great shift and think it's weird. But some guys are eating this up and they feel as though it's a blessing that this great shift is upon the Indian community. I saw one guy say that Indians deserve this great shift because of how cooked we've been as a community. I mean, not to get deep, but let me point out that no one deserves anything in life, first of all. Even if you're Kendrick Lamar, like, no, you do not deserve it all. But you do have to question why you'd favor this trend over just trying to better yourself. Maybe it's because all of a sudden guys think that they'll get more girls now because someone on TikTok said there's a great shift and Indian men have now become more attractive all of a sudden. And I hate to break it to you, bro, but if it took a great shift for you to finally think you'll be able to pull girls, then you had no game to begin with. If you actually stepped into the real world, you'll realize that there's no such thing as a great shift, and people are going to move along with their day and they don't believe dumb TikTok trends when it comes to choosing who to date. Social media is all a lie, like I said in my last video. But listen, I get it. People want that instant gratification. Like I said in the last video, if someone views them as attractive, then that's a win, because often there isn't much rep for Indians out there, so many Indians will never know how society views them. But like a majority of the TikToks are saying, Indians have always been attractive, bro. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But it's just the first time you've seen someone outside of your race call you attractive, so now you want to call it a great shift. Like, bro, it's honestly kind of weird. And I just want to point out as well, no one in real life uses terms like the great shift when it comes to talking about dating. And I've also never heard people in real life use terms like red pill, black pill, white pill. The only time I've heard people talking about pills is when they're talking about paracetamol or molly or other terms which I can't say on YouTube. I've only heard the term looks maxim being used in an ironic way, but maybe that's just my experience. Let me know in the comment section if this is something you guys talk about seriously with your friends. And I'm not even trying to hate on those communities, by the way, but I'm just genuinely interested if people talk about these things in real life, because it seems like all of this nonsense like great shift and rating ethnicities is all online, and I'm assuming there's going to be another great shift for another ethnic group in the future, so stay tuned for volume 3. But yeah, overall those are my thoughts on this trend. I don't know why, but a friend sent me a TikTok last Thursday of an Indian basketball player. I read the comments and they started talking about this great shift, and I didn't really think too much of it, but now when it's Tuesday and I'm recording this video, this stuff spread like wildfire and it's all everyone's talking about, so I already knew I had to make a video on how weird it was. But yeah, forget the great shift, keep focusing on trying to better yourself. Social media is a lie, clout is killing our people, but that's a video for another day. But what do you guys think? Is the great Indian shift real, or is it just another weird and nonsense TikTok trend? Is this good or bad for our community? Do you like these videos? Do you hate these videos? Are there other ways in which we can uplift our community without resorting to dumb TikTok trends? If so, then please share them and put me on in the comment section. Also, please share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Also, comment any topics or types of videos you guys want to see next. And please like the video to help the video's performance in the YouTube algorithm. And please also subscribe with notifications turned on, because I am going to be uploading weekly. Safe.